While millions of people plan their weekends around matches, scream at screens and let a game decide their mood, there's another group that just doesn't feel it anymore. They don't hate sports. They're not trying to be different. They just stopped caring. And if that's you, you've probably heard this before. Bro, how do you not care about sports? Most people jump to easy answers. You're not competitive. You're boring. You just haven't found the right team. But that explanation doesn't hold up, because many people who don't obsess over sports aren't passionless at all. They're deeply invested in other things: work, ideas, music, games, learning, building something real. So the real question isn't why you lack interest. It's why your mind stopped attaching meaning to spectator competition. Here's something people don't talk about. A lot of people used to enjoy sports. They watched matches. They followed teams. They argued passionately. But over time, something shifted. Entertainment exploded. Attention fragmented. Everything became faster, shorter, louder. When your brain can get stimulation instantly, it quietly asks, why should I emotionally invest for hours when novelty is everywhere? It's not that sports became worse. It's that your attention system evolved. And for some people, the shift wasn't just digital, it was emotional. They didn't just lose interest. They lost belief. They grew up treating sports like a religion, players like heroes, teams like identity. But then they noticed something. The players didn't know them, didn't care about them, sometimes didn't even respect the fans who defended them endlessly. They saw real interviews, real behavior, real attitudes. And suddenly the illusion cracked. Not in anger, not in rebellion, just quiet detachment. Because once you realize the relationship is completely one-sided, that your loyalty doesn't actually mean anything to the person you idolize, your brain stops investing, not out of bitterness, out of clarity. Studies on group behavior show that sports work because they create a feeling of us. When fans watch their team, their brain releases bonding chemicals, the same ones involved in close social connection. That's why people say, we won, we lost. But research also shows that not everyone's brain maintains that bond once trust or meaning fades. Some minds detach when the story no longer feels real. So instead of connection, their brain says, this isn't mine anymore. Not cold, not superior, just recalibrated. If you don't obsess over sports, you likely value direct involvement. You feel alive when your effort changes the outcome, your decisions matter, your progress is visible. Sports remove all of that. You can cheer, you can hope, you can react, but nothing you do actually changes anything. For some minds, that feels empty instead of exciting. Sports fans get energy from anticipation and emotional swings, but some people's brains don't reward that. They feel better with depth instead of spectacle, understanding instead of hype, slow satisfaction instead of spikes. So instead of noise, they choose meaning. Not because they're dull, but because they're selective. Sports are social glue. So when you don't care, people notice. You might start wondering, am I missing something? Why doesn't this click for me? But people who resist group excitement usually rely more on internal validation. They don't fake interest to belong. They don't mirror emotions automatically. That can look distant, but it's often just self-trust. So if you don't obsess over sports, it doesn't mean you're boring. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean something went wrong. It just means your mind engages differently. And that's okay. You don't need to panic about it. You don't need to force interest. You don't need to overthink it. Some people live through crowds. Others live through clarity. If this felt accurate, you're not alone. And if you know someone who's always felt out of place because they don't care about sports, share this with them. Sometimes people don't need motivation. They just need to know they're normal.